try to stay in coordination with each other. Sometimes, along with likeness, we also find differences among themselves. So in order to satisfy their requirements, sometimes people may use fair means, whereas sometimes people may violate the set of rules and regulations which are there in that particular society, and they may create trouble for themselves and for the rest of the society. So for that reason, what we do is that we try to study why people are committing crimes, what are the causes for that, and what are the consequences of the crime on the individual as well as on the society. That will be studied by this criminology. Criminology is defined as a systematic study of the nature, the extent, causes, and control of law-breaking behavior. Criminology is an applied science where criminologists will try to work to establish the knowledge about crime by doing the study on the criminal behavior of the people based on empirical research. The research forms will help us to understand about the causes, consequences. At the same time, we can give the scientific explanation about each and every activity. And based on our research, it also helps us in making predictions. And when we can predict at that time, we can also design some policies or programs so that we can also prevent the criminal activities in the society. So it helps us in designing the policies wherein we can control the behavior of the people. So criminology is a scientific technique of methods employed for the study of the phenomena, and it investigates the structure and the function of social laws, set of rules and regulations, and so on, my dear friends. Now let us discuss about the definitions of criminology. Cressy and Sutherland has defined criminology as the body, defined criminology as the body of knowledge regarding crime as a social phenomena. It means it includes both the scope and the process of making laws, breaking laws, and reacting towards the breaking laws, and so on, my dear friends. According to Webster Dictionary, criminology is a scientific study of crime as a social phenomena or of criminals and their mental traits, habits, disciplines, and their family conditions. Amen. Now let us discuss about the meaning of criminology. Criminology is derived from the Latin and Greek word crimen, C-R-I-M-E-N. Crimen means crime, and logos or logi means science. It is a science or the study of crime. It originally derived from the ancient Greek word called krino, and logos meaning reason or plan. It means the scientific study of nature, extent, management, causes, control, consequences, and so on of criminal behavior, my dear friends. The term criminology means a study of crimes as well as criminals in relation to the society. Now, who has used this word? Cesare Lombroso is regarded as the father of criminology. He is an Italian sociologist who worked in late 19th century. His contributions to biological positivism was well received, and he has founded the Italian School of Criminology. Now let us discuss about the importance of criminology. First, we said that science of criminology will try to study about the facts. Why people commit crime, what are the causes for that, what are the consequences, and so on. So the significance, like the fact makes us helpful to design a plan and evident the values and significance of the science of medicine, which studies various ills and it helps us to cure the problems or the effects on human body. Criminology also studies the ills and they try to cure the problems so that the society can be healthy, my dear friends. Information about crime helps us to differentiate between different types of crime, the intensity of crime, and its effect on the other. Like we have different types of crime like theft, dacoit, murder, adultery, rape, abduction, and so on, my dear friends. We have political crimes, white collar crimes, blue collar crimes, and so on. This information is going to help us in defining and differentiating various types of crime in the society. The next one is the practical importance of criminology is it helps us to apply the knowledge in controlling the crime by designing the policies. At the same time, if a person has committed crime, we also help him in the rehabilitation process. First one is we have to change his mindset, and once he comes out of the prison, we also have to provide some facilities wherein he can have a decent life. So we talk about three things. One is preventing the crime. Second one is if any person has committed crime, we are going to help him transforming his life. And the third one is we are also going to help him in terms of rehabilitation process. So the practical knowledge is going to help us in these three ways: preventing, rehabilitation, and also in transforming the criminal behavior of the criminals, my dear friends. It also helps us to assess the attitudes and the opinions of the criminals. When you're going to do research, it also helps us in understanding the attitudes and the opinions of the criminals. It helps us to understand various factors which are responsible for different types of crime. It may be age, it may be gender, it may be the conditions in the family, it may be the educational qualification of the individuals, it may be their working conditions, social background, and so on. Sometimes even the physical traits may also help the people to become a criminal. Let me add one example here in terms of physical traits. You must have watched this movie Sci. In that, there were two groups, my dear friends. One is science group and the other one is arts group. And most of the time, the arts students and the science students, they started fighting with each other, my dear friends. They want to overrule the other one. And in that, you must have seen a person, Nalla Sinu. He was black in complexion like. And in my personal life, also have experienced this. One fine day, one of my friend was asking about a problem. Then I said, there is a person in your locality, a small leader in your locality named Srinu. You go there and take the name of other friend and he's going to solve all your problems like. Then he said, who is that Sinu? I told Arayar, he is very, very close to your home. So you go and ask in your locality any person like Sinu, I want to talk to him. They will take you to that person. But that fellow was really poking me who that fellow is. Then I said, there is a person called Black Sinu. He is very, very familiar. He's black in color, everything. And all of a sudden, that person came and he listened to the words. I'm calling him as Black Sinu. He was literally angry and he wants to kill me. Sometimes even the physical traits, like if I'm going to call a blind person as blind, deaf, dumb, or something also, my dear friends, they may take it as insultation and they may simply take the revenge. There are chances that they may commit crime, my dear friends. So factors like age, family, gender, physical traits, and so on, my dear friends, can be the causes for this. So once you know about the causes for the criminal behavior, you can really solve the problem, my dear friends. For example, when you go to your doctor goes on asking n number of questions. And later on, if he is not in a position to trace the disease, he asks or he writes some examinations like blood test, urine test, stool test, or you go for scanning and so on. So that once he can identify the genuine problem or the real health issue, at the time he can treat the issue properly and the problem can be cured in less time, my dear friends, that too properly. The same way here, our duty is to identify all the causes which are the causes for criminal behavior. Next one, once you have all the information, it also helps us in reforming the criminals. So for that, we require some sort of preventive and criminal elimination of criminal activities in that area. Or else once we go to the prison, what they are going to do something else so that we can transform. I'll give one example. When Kiran Bedi was the IPS officer at Tihar jail, she has introduced this prison reforms. She has introduced this open prison system. If any prisoner is going to have little bit good conduct, they will be employed to work or they will be allowed to work outside the prison, open prisons. You must have seen near Cherlapalli, there is a petrol pump where the employees are prisoners. If you go to Warangal, just beside Warangal prison, there is also a petrol pump which is run by the police department, and all the employees who are working in that petrol pump are prisoners, my dear friends. They are prisoners. So, what there is that if any prisoner is going to have good conduct, they are going to put them out of the prison, work in the petrol bunks here and there. So what is the need for us to do this? Is it going to sensitize the people? Is it going to reform or transform the people? How come? What is the need for them to introduce this policy? For example, when a person is going to work in the petrol bunk, then the duty is to simply put on the petrol in the tank. That's it, isn't it? But he is going to see a person coming all alone, or else a customer will come along with his wife and children. At the time he sees wife and husband going together, at the time he may see, Arey yaar, what about my wife? What about my kid? What must be their social conditions, economical condition, and psychological condition? May not be the first day, but as days pass on, it may pinch him. It may motivate him to think about their family members. So he may think that if I would not have committed this mistake, I would be with my family members. I may not have a big car, but at least I have a bicycle. Maybe by foot, we may go together, walk together, and share whatever we have. So this may sensitize the people. For that reason, they have brought this open prison system, my dear friends. So what we can do better, once you have the information, it will also help us in bringing reforms, not only within the prisons, but also outside the prison so that we can prevent the criminal activity in the society. The next no person born criminal. The conditions which are there, the social, economical, and the conditions which are around, that must have motivated the person to do or commit that crime. So our duty is to understand the conditions around. And sometimes we also need to have the humanistic approach so that we can help them to come out of it. So it also studies about the judicial system, the law enforcement officers. We also talk about psychologists, social workers, and so on, because they also help the people to come out of these activities. Now let us discuss about the nature of criminology. Criminology deals with the crime, its meaning, and it makes us clear about the nature of criminology. It is an interdisciplinary science. Remember, it is not a isolated or independent science. It is an interdisciplinary science. And sociologists are going to play a vital role in defining an academic discipline for sociology. The fundamental task of criminology is scientific, systematic, statistic, structural, and functional. It tries to study about laws, everything we have already discussed. It is both, criminology is both sociological as well as psychological standpoint. We are going to study from both the dimensions, sociological point of view and from the psychological point of view. The criminology also tries to suggest certain reforms in the penal codes and its enforcement in order to make these humanistic one and rational one. Now let us discuss the scope of criminology. What are the boundaries? For each and every subject, there are certain limitations, certain boundaries. So what are the boundaries of this criminology? What is the scope of this criminology? According to Sutherland and Creasy, he has divided the scope of criminology into three domains or three areas. The first one is sociology of law, studies the nature of crime from legalistic point of views. Sociology of law is going to study the criminal behavior or crime from the legalistic point of view, from the legal terminology or from legal way. Criminal etiology tries to study the crime from through systematic investigation into various causes of crime, and it also studies about social and personal factors responsible for the occurrence of crime and growth of criminals. For example, when this movie Vastav came, in that Sanjay Dutt was the hero. In that there was a patented dialogue, एक दिन तो कैसे भी मरना है, जितना दिन जिया शेर जैसा जियो. At any cost, we are going to die one day. But when you live like a lion. That was the dialogue in that movie. And just because of this dialogue, most of the Chota gang leaders, especially in Mumbai, they dream that they want to become big, huge. And you know what they have done? They started their own gangs in Mumbai. Before that, there was only Dawood Ibrahim. Later on, Chota Shakil, Chota Rajan, all these people also emerged just because of that movie, which motivated the people to do it, which motivated the people, aspired the people to become a big don, my dear friends. So criminal etiology will try to study about social and personal factors which are responsible for the criminal behavior. Sutherland and Creasy has talked about penology too. The third one is the penology. It tries to study systematically and scientifically to control crime. Besides knowledge and determination of the causes and factors which encourage crime, we also require certain means by which we can control and prevent crime. So we call it as penology. So according to Sutherland and Creasy, the scope of criminology is classified into three ways. First one is sociology of law. Second one is criminal etiology. And the third one is penology. And according to Eliot and Merrill, they have mentioned four in terms of scope of sociology, 4 points. The first one is it studies the nature of crime. What are the features of crime? Where the criminal act is different from that of social or moral act. It tries to justify or it tries to study about the action of the criminals. And it will try to make a difference between the laws and like the rules and regulations which are there, whether it's in accordance with that or whether it's going against that. That will be studied by the nature of crime. The second one is it tries to investigate into the causes of crime. The third one is it tries to study the individualized study of criminals. It studies when a person is turned into a criminal, what kind of things has motivated the person to be a criminal, why a person is attracted towards criminality, and so on. Everything will be studied in individualized study of the criminals. The first one is we study about nature of crime. Second one is investigation into the causes of crime. The third one is individualized study of criminals. And the fourth one is we also try to study about the prevention of crime and also reform of the criminals. These are the four aspects which comes under scope of sociology according to Eliot and Merrill. Now let us discuss about the methods and techniques used in criminology. The criminologists use will require primary data in order to study about the causes of crime, in order to study about the intensity of crime, and why a person is becoming criminal-like. So we require statistical data which will be put for experimentation, and based on this experimentation, we are going to make certain generalizations. We are going to make certain generalizations. So let us study about some of the techniques or methods which are used for gathering information from the people. The first one is case study. Case study method is one of the method which we use for studying social phenomena through intensive, in-depth analysis of the individual cases. Case study is nothing but an in-depth study and in-depth analysis about an individual, a group of people, social phenomena, an institution, or anything. It is an in-depth study, my dear friends. So when we talk about criminals, we can take an individual as a case, or sometimes the entire structure or the system as a case, my dear friends. So first one is case study method. The second one is statistical method. It tries to reduce a complex mass of data to simple units of measurement. It tries to calculate mean, median, and mode, standard deviation, and so on, my dear friends, to study the criminal behavior. The third one is experimental method. In this experimental method, we are going to gather the information through controlled observations. What we do better? We will try to divide the people into two groups. We are going to study one group in the natural settings, and in the other group, we are going to put some conditions or going to control the variables, and we are going to see the changes in the behavior and so on. So we can also conduct the experiments. Right now in the developed countries, they are doing a lot of research in order to sensitize the criminals or transform the criminals. Do you know what they are doing? They are doing experiments. They have brought the hardcore criminals and they said nothing doing. Morning you will have breakfast, during lunch you will have decent lunch, and during night you will have supper. But the rest of the time, no work, nothing like. You will not be isolated in the cells, but you are going to sit in a particular room. They'll be made to come and sit. All the chairs are arranged in a circular way, and all the hardcore criminals are made to sit there. And all the hardcore criminals, they're not talking to each other. They're stubborn. But they said nothing doing, you sit there the whole day, that's it. Do nothing. So every day they're coming, sitting, going like they're not talking to each other at all. They're not even seeing each other, my dear friends. Like even they see like they're seeing just like they are ready to kill the other person who's sitting there. But as the days have passed, as the months have passed, they have become familiar with each other. They don't know their name. They don't know their social conditions, economical conditions. They do not know the psychological condition of the other people, why they have ended up in the prison. They don't have any information, but they have become familiar with each other only through faces. Okay, this fellow is also a criminal. I'm a criminal. Every day we are forced to sit here. That's it. And later on, all of a sudden, something happened. A person has simply nodded to the other person, and the other person also nodded where they had where they had non-verbal communication. And later on, slowly people started opening their mind. They started talking to each other. And once they started talking to each other, at the time, this interaction helped the psychologists to know what are the factors for the criminal behavior. And later on, do you know what they have done? In order to further sensitize the people, they said once they talk, they said, okay, you have a decent behavior. Okay, you're transforming. Then they said that if you have a spouse and child, you can invite your spouse and child to the prison, to one corner of the prison. They have a five-star hotel. They said you come, you here, stay with your spouse and child for 24 hours to 48 hours, everything free of cost. Room, TV, television, then a fridge with a lot of alcohol, and there is a swimming pool, a mini theater, and so on. They said this 24 hours or 48 hours is yours. You enjoy your life like anything with your spouse, free of cost. So obviously what happens, sometimes they may invite their spouse or children like, and after 24 hours or 48 hours, when they are leaving, they may say mom or dad have the same behavior. So that again, the government or the prison department will allow us to sit, they create a platform where we can sit together, band together, and enjoy for at least that 24 hours or 48 hours. So it is going to pinch the person, and the person may be eagerly waiting so that again he can rejoin with their family members at least for that 1 day or 2 days, my dear friends. Already this experiment is going on in the developed countries, my dear friends. So here what we do beta, we are going to do experiments. In the experimental method, you can have two groups. One, you're going to study them in the natural settings, and the other one by controlling the variables. So we use case study method, we use statistical method, we use experimental method. And we also have techniques like interview schedule. We may interview the people. Interviews are of two types, structured interviews and unstructured interviews. When you go for qualitative studies, go for unstructured interviews because my case will be entirely different of your case, my dear friends. Your conditions, your lifestyle and my lifestyle may be entirely different. Your aspirations and my aspirations are entirely different. So when you go for qualitative research, at the time it is better, you go for unstructured interviews or you go for in-depth interviews, my dear friend. We may also use tool-like questionnaire method. The only difference between questionnaire method and interview is that here you're going to prepare the set of questions and you hand over the questionnaire to the people and they are going to read and they are going to give the responses. Whereas in the interview also, when you go for structured interview, you prepare the set of questions, but you put the questions orally and the person is going to give the answers orally and the researcher is going to jot down the notes. We call it as interview. So there must be a question when everything is same. Why different tools? My dear friends, each and every person may not be a literate. That means they may not be able to read and write. So in that condition, we may use interview. Whenever you find, you may think that some of the respondents may be illiterate, or when you want to go for in-depth analysis, when you want to have qualitative data, at the time, go for interview one. And if you want to gather the information from large chunk of people scattered in different areas, at the time it is better, you go for questionnaire. But all your respondents must be educated or literate, my dear friends. So we may use questionnaire, we may use interview schedule, we may use case study. Sometimes we may also use survey method. You must have heard about survey. When Telangana as a state has been formed, the first Chief Minister of Telangana, KCR, Chandrasekhar Rao, he has gone for in-depth household survey. That means he tried to gather the information pertaining to all the people or all the households in the Telangana state. Whenever you want to gather the information from each and every individual or from each and every household, then we call it as survey method. So when you want to gather the information from all the criminologists or all the criminals or all the people who are associated with the rehabilitation process, at the time you go for this survey method. So these are the methods or techniques which are used by the criminologists or by in the study of criminology. Now let us study about the development of criminology, guys. In the olden days, or in the primitive societies, my dear friends, the human thinking was predominated by the religious mysticism. All the human relations were regulated by myth, superstition, religious tenets, and so on. So, religion has played a vital role in terms of our thought process and even in terms of our human action or behavior. And later on, sorry, it means there was little attention which was devoted for the motive of the human action or the environment where the person is born and brought up, or else the psychology of the offender. All this was of less importance because whatever happens, they used to simply link with the God. Whatever is happening, it is happening just because of the will of the God. That was the belief system which our primitive people had. This situation prevailed till the end of 17th century. Thereafter, there was a change in the human thinking and in the evolution of the modern society. There were social reformers who took up the cause for the criminal activity, who tried to study the causes of crime, also devoted a lot of attention for the analysis of crime and so on. Yes, good morning. Come after 1 hour. So the theoretical dimensions of criminology has a long history and ideas about the causes of crime, which were almost 2000 years ago. For example, Plato in his in politics, Plato's student Aristotle, he has stated about poverty endangers rebellion and crime. Religious scholars also focused on causes of or the diverse needs of humans, and they also link with sins, corrupting influence, God, demons, and so on. For example, let me give one example. If you see all the religions on this planet, they talk about giving alms to the people, dana dharmalu. They say that we have to help the people who are in need. What is the need for us to give alms? And the people also said that if you're going to give alms to the poor people, then God is going to be happy and God is going to bless you. How come a God is going to bless us just giving 1 rupee to a beggar? Is it really that we are going to help the beggars and God is going to be happy? If that is the case, then I have a property of worth 1 crore rupees, then I give it to the poor people, then God must be very happy with me and he say, Bhakta, tell me what do you want? Then obviously I may wish for more people, for more money, for more fame and name everything. But is it possible? No. Then how come our ancestors have said that God is going to bless us? For example, think you are feeling hungry and you have only 10 or 20 rupees in your pocket. What will you do? You'll use that 10 or 20 rupees and whatever is available or whatever you can get with that 10 or 20 rupees, you'll purchase that and you will have it and you'll try to be happy. Something is better than nothing. You have something and with that something you are happy. But think there is nothing. What will happen? No person or no species on this planet want to die out of hunger. So if I don't have money in my pocket and if I do not have any source in my source to purchase the food or to procure the food, like at the time there are chances that the person may steal the food. He may go for pickpocketing. He may go and kill a person if required because he wants to fill his belly, my dear friends. So that is the reason why all the religions said that you need to give some money to the poor people as alms, as charity, so that what happens, Veda, he will be happy with that something and he will not create any harm for any person. That is how God is going to bless us, my dear friends. So we are going to The religious scholars has tried to focus on the causes, and they also try to make up some mechanism by which they can also reduce the crime, my dear friends. The Italian criminologist who belongs to the classical school of criminology, Cesare Bonesano Beccaria, urged that the law must apply equally to all the people. He said that whatever the law is there, it must be equally applicable to each and every person who has committed crime, or even in terms of rehabilitation or anything. All the people should be treated equally. There must not be dual standards. For the rich, it is entirely different, and for the poor, it is entirely different. This kind of judicial abuse of power should not be there. All the people should be equally treated, my dear friends. They also argued that punishment should fit the crime. It should fit the crime. Based on the intensity of crime, we need to give the punishment to the people. We need to punish the people. In the 19th century, the positive school of criminology brought a scientific approach to criminology, including findings from biology and medicine. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution helped us in understanding the biological causes for crime. For example, recently in America, you must have seen that there was a movement called Let Me Breathe movement. Actually, there was a black person who belongs to African continent but settled in America, is Africa American person, settled there, and he was riding his car. And the police smelled something wrong with the person, and they tried to stop him, but the fellow did not stop, and he was moving on his way. And the police started chasing him, but he did not stop. He started moving very, very fast. At last, the police could stop him. And they asked him to surrender. He was there itself, and the police has checked all his car. There was no drugs. There was no weapons, nothing like. He was not doing any illegal activity, but he did not stop when the police asked him. So the police asked him to the person to lay on the ground, and the police got angry of the fellow, and he kept his knee on the neck of the person, and he was trying to arrest. At the time, the black person was calling for help, saying that, "Sir, I'm choking to death. Please allow me to breathe." But the police did not listen, and he died because of choking, because he could not breathe, my dear friends. And later on, most of the Americans, they came onto the street, and they have taken up a movement called Let Me Breathe movement, my dear friends. Even in across the globe, my dear friends, based on races, we find racial discrimination. Like whites are treated superior and blacks are treated as inferior. In some areas, the like boys are treated superior, whereas girls are treated as inferior. So this kind of discrimination or this kind of opinions do exist in the society. So in order to study all these biological reasons for everything, so these have been helpful, my dear friends. So we have studied, we have these biological theories and so on, which has been developed in the 19th century. Now let us discuss about the development of criminology in India. The word criminology was derived by French anthropologist Topinard, who has used this word in his major work in the year 1879. In the 18th and 19th century, there was emphasis on the reform of criminal law and not on the causes of crime and so on. After the first quarter of the 20th century, there was a great progress in the field of criminology. The first book on criminology was written in the year 1920 by the American sociologist Maurice Parmali, but development programs were the specific purpose of training students to be criminologists which was very slow, my dear friends. In the year 1940, in India, there was teaching of criminology for jail officers in jail officers training school at Lucknow. And later on in the year 1949, there was a diploma in criminology which was initiated by the Lucknow University. In subsequent years, there was a subject which was taught in the universities. Later on, 4 universities and institutions have introduced the Department of Criminology. That is Tata Institute of Social Sciences at Bombay, Saugar, University of Saugar, University of Madras, University of Karnataka, Dharwad. Right now, there are 11 universities which are offering criminology as a paper. So till now, we have studied that criminology is a branch of sociology which is going to study about the causes, consequences of crime. We also try to study about various factors which are going to contribute for the crime. And we also talk about police system, judicial system, and the other mechanisms which helps in transformation and reforming the people. We also try to study about the role of social workers, psychologists in transforming the lives of the criminologists. Okay, we'll stop here, guys, and we'll continue tomorrow.